So today we're going to go over various different high-profile hacks which happened, like M&S Co-ops, Harrods, and talk about how it happened and what you can do within your business to improve security and prevent attacks like that. So let's go on. So, as we say, it's going to be interactive. So if you've seen, you booted up your computer and then you open up a file and you met with this, your files have been encrypted. What are your thoughts of what would you do if you come across this? Any sort of what would be the first thing you would thought or do if you were met with this on your computer?
We have an outsourced IT guy, so I'd send it straight to him because I wouldn't know how to deal with it myself. So I get the experts in.
Okay. So what do you expect from your outsourced IT person? Do you understand what they put in place for you? So you know how long it would take to recover all of your data if they were encrypted, or are they encrypted elsewhere, disconnected from your main source of data? Do you know where they stored, or if your IT person sort of wasn't contactable, do you have some kind of a policy or procedures where you know what would need to be involved in it?
Well, if they weren't contactable, no, I wouldn't really know what was the best thing to do myself. No, unfortunately.
Do you know how long it would take for, if all of your data got encrypted, do you know how long it would take for you to get back up operational?
Don't know.
Do you know if your data's backed up?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Cool. Alison, what would be your thoughts on this?
I'd probably try and bring in an IT expert to help me.
Do you know if you have a backup or anything like that in place?
Yes, they're backed up. Yeah.
Jimmy?
Yeah. So can you hear me all right?
Yep.
Yeah. So probably after the initial panic, I know all of our stuff's all backed up. So probably just sort of isolate the computer from the network to make sure anything can't sort of move around. Yeah, and then just work on sort of
very good.
restoring it back to what we need to do, really. I mean, much of our information isn't sort of limited onto a PC, so I don't know how. It's one of the things I wanted to get from this, how all of our stuff sort of network based. So how much protection would that be? I suppose they could encrypt it all.
Stored locally, basically pulling the plug is the best sort of way of dealing with if you don't know what's going on and how it's spreading, to minimize the damage, because the way how encryption works, it will start going through the files. A lot of the time, by the time you see that, a lot of it would have been encrypted, but it will start spreading from computer to computer across network drives and anywhere it can get to. It is being constantly developed. One of the major things is not only that they hold you ransom with encrypting your files, they also hold you ransom threatening to release the files on the internet. So that's a sort of a major reputational damage on top of if you are unable to recover. It's sort of critical to your business operation. How often, or have you ever tested your ability to recover from a backup?
I don't think I have. No.
what I then say is that the basics of cybersecurity is actually knowing that you've got functional backup, and to know that backup is only as good as the last time you've tested that you can restore. And it happens so many times where companies go out of business because they cannot restore their data, and this is so common, and very easy if all the other security layers aren't in place to fall for a ransomware attack is very, very easy, and it's getting more and more sophisticated. So these things are very scary. The first time I've come across it was back in 2015, I think. And that was the first time I've seen it at a multinational company. And what I did was, we need to pull the plug, get everything disconnected to minimize the damage, and work on restore, which luckily
Sort of set up a safe network somewhere or something. And
yeah, so there was a functional backup to restore from, and at that time it wasn't actually stealing the data. Now it is not only encrypting but also stealing. So really, really important to try and put as many layers of security as possible. A lot of the time this is like a marketing email. Someone will click, and if that someone who clicks doesn't have other protections in place, it will quite likely be successful. If you've got no 2FA on your account, they will likely get through by just stealing your credentials, or them being able to get to other accounts. So having restrictions on what kind of access each person within your business has, not having admin rights on computers, because then you can't execute a lot of the stuff it might want you to do. So
okay,
this is sort of a scary beginning, but this is what many people on daily basis are faced with, having one of those in every single folder throughout your computer and throughout all of your data. So this is why it's sort of very, very crucial to be vigilant about what you click on, because quite often it does come through an email or a link on a website, and you don't even realize it will just be working in the background till you start noticing all of these decrypt or readme to decrypt files asking you for Bitcoin's payment. So the cost of cybersecurity breach is obviously a reputation, financial losses, downtime, loss of trust, negative media coverage. Obviously, if you are a larger business, I'm sure you'll remember the amount of stuff written about M&S and Co-op, and obviously we've just had another breach at the aerospace. So there's lots of that, especially for larger businesses. For smaller businesses, a lot of time they don't make the news; they just have to close down, or also be able to either pay the ransom, which I definitely do not recommend, but because that's just adding fuel to the fire. Best way is to recover, but even better is if you put in enough prevention, because there is a lot of companies who are the low-hanging fruit. Don't be the low-hanging fruit. Try and get yourself higher up, be more difficult. They'll give up and they'll move on, trying to reach someone else. Obviously, it could degrade your brand. You can end up with fines if your client information or any other personal identifiable information is leaked. You'll be liable for fines. Obviously, there was a cost to get back up and operational. I think M&S has lost 300,000 of profit. So it's really costly, and obviously it costs delays as well. So it's better to try and prevent it. Obviously, you can't 100% prevent it. If someone's got enough time and money, they will get through. And then it's sort of making sure that everyone knows how to sort of behave, what to do, how to stop the spread and minimize the damages. So how can your business get compromised? So phishing and social engineering, do you guys know what that means, or how do you think it could happen to you?
They're sort of like the phishing emails and stuff, aren't they? Like open
Yeah.
this file and it asks you to sign in, and we get quite a few of those through actually. Luckily we haven't had anything further from it, but
What about social engineering? How do you think you could be compromised using social engineering?
not sure I really know what that means, to be fair.
So let's say someone calls you and says, "Oh, I'm your supplier. I've got a delivery for you," and they try and sort of gain information or get access, or they call you and say, "Oh, I'm your IT company. I just need to install something on your computer. Can you grant me access to your computer?"
Okay.
Or,
Yeah, so
you know,
I could see some people calling for something like that in the business, so that's something to raise awareness of.
yeah. So social engineering is the easiest way to get in. You don't have to try and break through any sort of barriers or anything. You just basically make someone believe that you are who you are. Quite often, sort of having a yellow vest, a clipboard, you instantly have lots of credibility that you are doing something which is really, really important. And you might let them into your building because they're saying they're fixing the internet or they're fixing the electricity or something like that. And it happens quite often where, you know, they gain access, they get near your infrastructure and they could plug something in, or they could unplug something. There's lots of opportunities, and obviously one of the most common things is someone goes, "Oh, I've got cups of coffees. Could you hold the door for me?" How many people would not hold the door? I think everyone would hold the door. But if you don't know who they are and they're coming into your building, they might not be who they say they are. Other things there are data leaks, so accidental, intentional, making sure that any sort of people who are leaving your company, that they are disabled as quickly as possible, making sure that everyone is aware of what they shouldn't do, trying to prevent accidental data leaks with sort of having policies set which prevent you sending credit card details via email. And these are kind of things which happen to me. And I've been asked to send my NI number the other week, and it was needed to be done really quickly because it's to do with my clearance, and I just kind of completely forgot and went and sent it, and then the email bounced back going, "Nope, you cannot send that." So luckily we've got these policies because it happens. You're just sort of trying to get something done really quickly, and you're just trying to get that information over. But then I thought, oh no, I need to send it via secure link because it's my NI number and it could be misused if it falls into the wrong hands. AI generated misinformation and fake press. So it's so easy. I don't know how many of you have been playing with sort of various AI, ChatGPT, Copilot. So easy to sort of create fake images, fake websites even. It can create whole websites for you and then start spreading misinformation. Ransomware, so obviously what we've seen earlier, encrypting and holding you ransom for your data or threatening to release your data. Supply chain attack is something which is gaining lots and lots of traction, and that's what happened last Friday at Heathrow. There was a supply chain attack. Insider threats or poor access control, so basically similar to sort of data leaks. People might want to join your company on purpose because they are after something, or someone offers someone a bit of money on the side if they could just share a little bit of information. It could be a competitor, it could be there are private investigators who do this kind of stuff, because they are working on behalf of someone. They're trying to get data. They will offer money to your employees to try and get the data they are after. AI-driven credential theft, so feeding the AI sort of stolen credentials to try and work out. A lot of people will reuse passwords and just do a small amendment. AI is going to be able to sort of work through that, try and work out similar passwords, and be able to crack your passwords faster. Social media takeover, so I think that's off leading on to reputation damage if someone starts sort of talking over social media like yourself, and you've got no control. And I think we have seen that recently with someone locally, and it took a very long time because obviously to get hold of LinkedIn or Facebook, it takes a very long time to try and prove that you are actually the person whose account's been stolen. So making sure you've got two-factor, you've got strong passwords, setting strong passwords with sort of 3-4 random words. You want to try and make it as long as possible. You don't need it to be too complex because then that's difficult for you to remember. To remember a window, cloud, blue, elephant, it's easier than lots of random uppercase, lowercase, numbers, symbols. And if that's shorter, it's easier for a computer to crack. So brute forcing passwords is a way to do that. And a 12-character password is brute forceable within a few hours. So making very long passwords mean it takes a very, very long time, and currently unable to be cracked with current IT infrastructure. Shadow IT AI tool misuse. So we see that spiraling out of control. Everyone's going crazy about AI and lots of other online tools. Who's ever used one of these PDF converters online, or join your PDFs or split your PDFs? Yeah, you're using that. Do you know who's running it and where the data is? Are they deleting the data once you upload it, or are they storing it? So this is all a risk and basically an accidental data leak, really, because you don't know what happens to that data. They could be collecting it, it could be hacked as well, and your data could be released online. It could be your client confidential information. So be aware and vigilant about where you're uploading your data. There's now lots and lots of AI tools where you can upload your data, and they are so useful, but also so dangerous because, again, you don't know who all these various people are who are running these AIs, where they're storing the data. Are they using it to train the model? If they're using it to train the model, it's possible to get the data out by questioning the AI, and it can basically spill your company secrets to a competitor. It has happened before. So be very, very vigilant and make policies and decisions of which AI tools are right for your business to use and for your employees to use, to make sure that you are preventing accidental data leaks. Fake clients, credential harvesting. So that's another thing which is on the rise. Sort of new client registers with you and pretends to be a client for various reasons to try and infiltrate or get some information or get your pricing. Just be sort of aware, do check who your sort of clients are, especially if you've got sort of web sign-ins and stuff. So you're aware of, are they actually real? Because that's one of the things they'll be trying to build trust to be able to get more information and whatever their end goal may be. So the recent high-profile incidents we had, so obviously Co-op, M&S and Harrods were all hit in April. Harrods has managed to detect it and shut it down, so they had no operational issues and no data leaks. M&S has been the slowest out of the three, and has been suffering the most and been out for months, not being able to place online orders. And this is very, very real example of you've not tested your backups, you've not tested your disaster recovery. It's a very, very real example of you've not tested your backup. Sorry, was it echoing? Seems sorry.
It's back to normal, thank you.
Cool. Yeah, so it's a real example and a real pain to shareholders, especially. Again, it's sort of not taking security and IT seriously, and then this is the effect of it. Co-op has been faster dealing with it. They have pulled down the plug faster, but still I went into Co-op, and all I could get was a one Co-op branded coffee, which was there on a Sunday a few months back. And I was like, have they been robbed or something? I was like surprised, everything was empty. And I was like, oh, they got hacked. And this is a real view of what it transcribes to in the reality of, I nearly couldn't get a coffee on a Sunday morning because they've been hacked and they couldn't get supplies out. And there were signs everywhere going, they've got problems with their supply chain, but actually, you know, it was down to their operations being hit. So does anyone know how exactly it happened to Co-op and M&S and Harrods?
Wasn't it something to do with someone joined a Teams call or something, did I hear? Pretended to be someone they weren't with the camera off.
So there's been some rumours about that.
Yeah, it might be rumours, but
What actually happened is basically their IT, which is outsourced, received a call to reset a password. It wasn't the person who called, and they managed to get that reset, and then they tried it on a few others and managed to get accounts which had more access, and then managed to get to more and more systems. And the same, obviously, across Co-op, M&S and Harrods. Obviously, Harrods has detected it and shut it down. Obviously, M&S and Co-op, their defences and detection wasn't good enough, and obviously their recovery wasn't good enough either. But it sort of shows the speed at which you react really, really matters on how quickly you can then recover if you've got something to recover from. But I think that M&S had to rebuild all of their online ordering and shopping, and that's why they took so long, because they couldn't recover. There has been a trucker company who was about 150 years old and was employing lots of people, and they couldn't recover their systems, so they've gone out of business. And that's one of the ones which doesn't really make headlines, but it's a real shame that companies with such a long tradition go out of business because they didn't take the basic precaution to make sure that they can recover. So it goes back to, if you cannot recover, if everything else fails, it's sort of really, really difficult to recover and be operational. With Collins Aerospace, has anyone seen on Friday, Heathrow, I think Berlin, Heathrow and Amsterdam and a few others were affected. So check-ins weren't working. So this is a supply chain attack. So Collins Aerospace is supplying various companies with their check-in system, and they got hacked. So this is growing threat, because it's much easier if you hack someone higher up the chain, you basically get into lots and lots of different companies. Anyone has any idea what you can do about sort of preventing supply chain attacks within your business? So things which you can do is basically do things like vetting your suppliers. One of the basic things I think we expect from our suppliers to have is Cyber Essentials certification, which basically it's a government scheme which suggests all the basic security you should have in place, and then you complete a certification and you get a certificate, and that also comes with Cyber Essentials insurance. So it's really, really handy, but it's also really handy to go, okay, if someone is holding that certification, they are taking some care of their security. So that's sort of a way how you can ensure a bit more security within your supply chain. I know it can be difficult, and we face that ourselves. We can't always dictate who we do business with, unfortunately. If we've got a specific supplier who's the only supplier in the UK providing that particular service or whatever we need, we may need to sort of buy from them. But we sort of suggest that that's something we would like them to do to just try and make them more secure. We'll also take additional precautions in dealing with them as well. Has anyone heard of the Cyber Essentials certification? So basically, it's a government certification for micro businesses. I think it's about £300 to basically get access to the portal. You go in and answer questions. So things like, do you have two-factor authentication in place? Are all of your devices up to date? Do you check your firewalls? Make sure that firewall rules are reviewed, or remove any unnecessary firewall rules. It's basically a lot of very, very sensible things to do for your business. So I would recommend that you review it, and obviously once you successfully pass it, you'll get up to £20,000 worth of cyber insurance, which is very helpful should you get breached. And I think it's about 250 something or £240 to extend it to 200,000 a year. And from the statistics, so the company who does the insurance is Sutcliffe, and from what they do, because they provide cyber insurance to businesses who do not hold cyber essentials, as well as the ones who hold cyber essentials, and it's 96% less likely for you to claim cyber insurance if you hold the certification. So it's staggering how less likely you are to be a victim of cybersecurity attack if you do the basic security. But a lot of stuff is done through just basic things like brute forcing passwords or using the passwords which have been stolen from somewhere else, because two-factor authentication isn't in. But even if you've got two-factor authentication, it's sort of being vigilant. If you get a prompt wanting to approve two-factor, don't just blindly approve any two-factor, because it could be someone trying to get into your account. What you can do quite often is go into your account and see where the sign-ins are coming from, and if you see anything you don't recognize, you can sign it out. So it's always good to be vigilant, and obviously if companies like Cobb and M&S can get hacked, it's a lot easier to hack very small businesses. So going back to the supply chain, so obviously doing security assessment, you can ask them, do they hold cyber essentials or ISO 27001? A lot of big companies will hold certifications like that. Smaller ones might not. But the more people will ask those questions, the more pressure there will be on them to actually obtain it. Or if they start seeing that they're losing business, they'll be more motivated to get more secure. Have access controls in place, zero trust. So not only within the IT systems, but also yourselves and within your team, is always question everything. Don't just blindly trust everything you see and hear. Obviously, cyber essentials, compliance, and incident responses. So it's really, really important, especially for suppliers, to then notify their clients that they are dealing with a security incident, because you can then take actions to warn your clients or stop various services to minimize the damage. How you can protect yourself on a financial level. So being a small business, quite often you yourself will be wearing a lot of hats, but also your employees or your business partners will be wearing a lot of hats. So it's important to try and segregate duties as much as you can, or put transaction limits in. So if someone were to transfer £50,000 out of your business account, perhaps that should have a different process, or have 2 signatures required, or something like that. There's lots of different ways of how you can put additional protections in place. And the one time where it might not be yourself or your business partner doing that transaction, it may be worth it to have that in place. Make sure that you are verifying bank details. If you receive an invoice, does anyone have any good process to make sure that you are paying the right company, the right bank account? What sort of process do you have in place to verify information?
Sort of getting confirmation on sort of headed paper, that type of thing, and then sort of if there are any requests to amend those details, making sure we speak to whoever our contact is within the organisation to confirm it and that type of thing, really.
Yeah. If you confirming, would you call the number at the bottom of the email you've received the information in?
No, I don't think I'd think of that.
So it's super important, because we have seen a very large sums of money going based on sort of following the process but skipping that one step, which is use sort of
use sort of
independent-
verified phone numbers and stuff. Right? Yeah.
And sort of, you can have a very elaborate process in place, but you skip one step, and that one step is what it takes to get the money to the wrong bank account. Incident response. Does anyone have sort of any incident response or advice of what employees should be doing, or you yourself should be doing, should there be an incident within your business? What would the steps be? So I would say one of the things is obviously putting in writing and having everyone aware of, okay, if anyone sees any suspicious email, if you've got external IT, perhaps contact them or send that across. Don't go sending, oh, I think this is suspicious, to everybody else in the company, because someone will click on it to just check. So ideally, don't send suspicious things to other people within your business, because it's just increasing the likelihood that someone will action it and potentially compromise your business. With security incidents, probably making a phone call is the best way forward, just to sort of speak to someone to make sure there isn't anything suspicious going on. Because the faster you act, the quicker you can stop the incident. And obviously being able to suspend or revoke access as well, and knowing how you would go about it. Does anyone do any employee verification when you're employing people? Yeah. It's quite important. We have come across it. We do it, and we have been doing it for many years. And unfortunately, we did have to say to someone, we cannot employ you because you have not passed our pre-employment screening. But we take security very seriously, because we do hold a lot of keys and a lot of access. So we've got to make sure that anyone who works with us is 100% trustworthy. So audit trails and logging. So as I mentioned earlier, if you see something suspicious, you can always go and look and see where the last logins were from. If you see anything suspicious, revoking it, or again, contacting your IT for help. Quite often, people will be hanging around for weeks, months, sometimes years, waiting for the perfect opportunity to take action or to amend bank details or just sort of infiltrate information. So it might not be immediately obvious that your systems have been breached. Quite often they'll wait the sort of default 30 days when all of the logs, how they got in, get wiped. So there is no trace of how they actually got in, and then they might start acting and doing things. So, phishing and AI, social engineering.
Hi, this is Blake from IQ in IT. How can I help?
So do you think that this is a real voice, or do you think it's an AI voice?
It sounds a
AI.
bit complicated.
I think it's AI.
I would
Um,
query it because it sounds echoey.
Yeah, it might be because of the meeting room, potentially. This is one of our engineers, but it is the AI version of his voice. And when I play that to our clients, they can't tell the difference if it's him or not. And actually, if you call us, some of the voice messages we have through our IVR are actual, and some of them are AI. It's really, really difficult to tell the difference, to the point where Blake, whose voice this is, he was like, oh yeah, I can always tell, to the one where he was like, oh, it could have been me. I can't tell. So this is how tricky this is. And if you get one of your offsprings calling you because they're traveling, going, oh, I need money, I've lost all my phone and everything, I need you to transfer some money here. You know, would you question it, or would you go, oh yeah, of course I'll help you, because it sounds like one of your children, and they are currently traveling, and you know, they might have got into some troubles abroad. So one of the things you can do is have a word which only your family knows, so you can then confirm, or it could be a question of what's your favorite carrot or something like that, and you know, the answer is bicycle, and if the answer isn't a bicycle, it's not your family member. So think about these things and set safe words or safe questions and answers to be able to tell if you are speaking to the right person. Obviously, make sure it's not written down or not shared on social media. This is one of the ways to try and tackle AI. But it's increasingly difficult, especially with sort of deep fakes as well. It's difficult to tell if it's who you think you're speaking to. So there are sort of various things, like, you know, you could try and get them to play something in front of their face to try and see if that potentially flickers in and out, to try and tell if it's real or not. But it's getting increasingly more difficult to tell what is real and what is not. So just be vigilant of it.
Hi, this is Blake from IQ in IT.
Right. So do you guys have any questions? Anything you think other people should know? Anything you've come across? I think would be helpful.
I have a question. I joined a bit late, so I don't know if it was covered in the beginning, about backing things up, and whether, if I'm backing up my files onto an external hard drive, that is sufficient, or whether I actually need to do a whole Windows backup.
So the best way to start is to understand how quickly do you need your data to be recovered, and do you need your entire computer? Do you have some software which is difficult to install, or you know, will just access to the data from any computer work for you? Obviously, if you are backing up on a physical hard drive and it's in the same location as your primary computer, what if the building goes up in flames? Then, you know, if you don't have anything elsewhere, you've lost everything. So if you're doing a physical media backup, I would recommend that you've got at least 2, if not 3 physical locations. And if you do a backup, the time it takes you to back it up to take it to the different location, that time from the initial time you take the backup to where it makes it to the additional location, is that time reasonable for you if you lose all of that data in between that time? If not, you need to find a better way of backing things up. You can have sort of simultaneous copy of your data elsewhere. Obviously, if you do have simultaneous copies, you still need additional backups, because if one gets encrypted, it will spread to the other. So the importance of having disconnected backup, which with a physical media, as soon as you unplug it, it's disconnected. If you keep it plugged in and it periodically makes a backup, it will go to your backup if it gets encrypted as well. So if you don't disconnect it and you get encrypted, it will not be very useful. So yeah, if you think of it, what's the time you can afford within your business, or working it out in terms of how many employees do you have, how much does it cost you to pay them per hour, how much does it cost you for your office space, for the electricity, and all of these other charges. If you add that up and work out per hour what the cost is if your business cannot operate, that will then determine how long you can go on before you're bankrupt without being able to restore. Obviously, we could see if it's M&S, they can go for a very long time making losses before they go out of business. For smaller businesses, it normally isn't that long, and if you can't operate for a few weeks, you probably will be out of business. Is that good enough answer, Yuki?
Yes, I think I basically need to have. I hadn't really thought about the whole, potential of fire or something. So having a different, a couple of backups in different locations is definitely something that I'll start doing now. Thank you.
Jimmy?
Yeah, just wondered, would you sort of recommend using sort of SharePoint, OneDrive, that type of thing for files and then, because so what we started doing is more recent stuff we use on SharePoint or OneDrive, and then I periodically back them up onto sort of a hard drive. Is that a good way to do it? Or because I know you can, I just wonder whether recovering from that is easier than having loads of different.
Yeah, so it sort of depends what is it you're backing up. If you're just backing up files, if you're backing it up to the sort of spinny hard drive, it will take you a long time to copy them back in. If you're doing it via USB kind of thing. So if you think of the entirety of your data, how long it takes to copy it to the external hard drive, if you needing to copy that back, is that several hours? How much data you have? It also depends on the size of the files. The smaller the files are, the longer it takes to copy it. You've mentioned you sort of also using OneDrive and SharePoint. So obviously, if you're sort of using that to back up your data into the cloud, again, if your local data gets encrypted, it will copy over to the cloud system as well. Obviously, in the cloud system, you can go to previous versions, but you have to do it per file, and that takes very, very long time. You can back up your cloud environment to a completely separate data center. So you can have your sort of Teams, OneDrive, SharePoint, emails all backed up elsewhere. So you can then go to the copy of the data from however long time ago, in case something got deleted maliciously. You can go to the previous state of it and recover that data. We've had it where someone accidentally drops or deletes folders within a shared mailbox. So we have a client who organizes all of their projects within one shared mailbox. and there is hundreds and hundreds of various different subfolders and emails. If you go through the normal recovery, it will recover everything which has been ever deleted, and it won't recover the folder structure. With the sort of SharePoint and email and OneDrive backup, it will recover the entirety of the folder structure. So it's really simple for us to do, and it speeds up the time where the client is then able to access their accidentally deleted structure again and continue to work. So what I would recommend is to go through scenarios of, okay, we've got a fire, or this got encrypted, and we've got none of our infrastructure working. How do we recover? You know, do we need to buy new hardware, or can we operate from the cloud, because you can restore to cloud and get your sole operation in the cloud. So going through all of this and sort of finding the way, okay, if we do this, it's going to take us this time. Is that acceptable for us as a business? Or are the losses going to be too big? Is that potentially going to take us out of business if we cannot operate for a week, because the amount of data and stuff we hold is going to take this long to recover if we are using this type of backup?
Okay, thank you.
Sarah?
Hello, I wondered if you had a recommendation for somebody to use to do the Cyber Essentials Plus qualification accreditation, because I have looked into doing it, but so many people are offering it and it's difficult to know who to go with. Do you know of anybody who's good?
So we are a Cyber Essentials certification body.
Okay.
So we can help you with it. So what you need to do is you first need to go through the Cyber Essentials self-certification. And again, that's something you can buy through us. And
Okay.
I'm the lead auditor, so I would be the person sort of working with you and letting you know if there is certain areas where you don't meet the criteria. And once you pass that, you then have 3 months period to obtain Cyber Essentials Plus, which depending on your sort of company size, we can sort of let you know what the cost would be once we understand your environment a bit more. So let me know, and I'll let you know how we can help you achieve that.
Thank you.
Just give me 1 second. TV's threatening to turn itself off. I don't press a button.
I think
But
we
we're
are
as
running
equal.
out of time. So if there is any further questions, I will share Kat's email address and you can guys contact her directly. I don't know, Kat, do you want to add anything else?
Yeah, so I'll definitely sort of recommend that you guys have a look at Cyber Essentials, because it's a really good thing to go through to go, okay, we haven't thought of this, or we haven't checked this, to sort of improve your cybersecurity posture and protect you from the sort of very easy ways into your business. So yeah, feel free to sort of contact us, and we can guide you, we can help you. We are also cyber advisors, so we are National Cyber Security Centre certified to provide Cyber Essentials advisory services. So we can guide you through the whole process and help you implement areas where you may be falling short to get your business more secure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kat. Thank you, everyone. I hope you found it useful. And I will be sharing the link so you can review the recording and go back to it. Thank you, everyone. Have a good rest of the day. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.